Well, considering that I'm not going to continue driving on the roads, considering it's a blizzard right now, I figured right now would be the best time to give you a walk around of my truck camper. So in the middle here, well, dining room area-ish slash control room. Under the middle here, I have 2 batteries with the rest of my solar charger and whatever else I need on the inside. Under here, I have, excuse the 70s cushions, it only gets better. I have my diesel heater. And, well, a water tank whenever I get around to it. So, for that, bought it off Amazon. Seems to work okay. Put this back here. This is the 3-way fridge that I have that came with the camper originally. I haven't decided if I'm gonna switch it out for something else or if I'm just gonna continue with that because it uses a lot of power when it runs on 12 volt, but I do like that it runs on propane. So, in the back, left that open because, well, renovations. In the back here, I've got a ghetto version of a bathroom with still the original paneling. That's what the whole trailer used to look like before. Got a small, what are they called, cassette style toilet. And then over here, I've just got my pantry, which is pretty bland. For the inside of the cabinets, I had wired up and got them ready for a automatic lighting system, as that's what's on the floor. Down here, I've got one here, and I've got one here, and then I was gonna wire them up on the inside of those and have them on the inside of there, up in the bedroom. In the kitchen here, I've got just a small sink, my favorite spits, beef taco, don't shame it till you try it. And then this oven, this never came with an oven. It came with just originally the range on the top. So then I took all that out, and I went and found this on Kijiji, cleaned it up the best I could, painted it black, called it a day. Under there is originally where no light bars were never there. Under there originally was the propane heater, and I didn't want that in there at all, considering it was a waste of space and I was never going to use it. So I tore that out and I just want to use it as like a boot storage. And then for the floor, I bought the styrofoam backed little square pieces of chipboard, cut them to fit, that way the floor was at least semi-insulated. So that runs all the way to the back, and considering this camper is from the 70s, it fixed some problems. And then just do some flooring over top of it. So from there, we went from going from the kitchen to the dining room, which up here I have my battery gauge, which shows me where I'm at, what I'm using, my diesel heater controller, and then my inverter light switch whenever I have that running, which is loose. This cabinet up top here originally folded down, so it used to fold into a small bunk bed, and originally I think it was only about maybe this high from the roof. So what I did was I completely tore it out, I framed it all in, did a really crappy job. Delicious. Framed it all in, made it a lot bigger, gave myself quite a bit more storage. I tied it into the roof and everything, made it look a lot better. So then underneath, I ended up putting a 110 plug on that side, a LED light underneath, and then I made these USB chargers with a couple different parts from online, pieced them together, tied them all in, so now I have directly USB charging, which is 12 volts, so I don't have to run my 110 instead of using a cigarette lighter. So then my guitar, blankets and stuff, my curtain. Also this stuff over on this side. So then on the bottom here, this is where the table would be. It steps up a little bit, which this is the sensor for my floor lights, so that when I step out from the bed, I swing my feet down, they automatically turn on. This is the opening for the diesel heater, in which I tried to make stylish and failed epically. And then underneath here is a whole bunch of ghetto stuff. I got this mess from a lot of stuff online. So I got my Canadian Tire inverter, which works not that well. I have my automatic switch, which will turn me from inverter power to when I plug into shore power. I have my battery charger, which is wired directly to my truck. I have a sawn-off switch, which is made for my Google Home. Ta-da! So that will run a lot of the lights eventually when I'm hooked up to internet, just off my phone and whatnot. And then breaker panel, of course. I have a sensor over there, which will turn on this fan down here when that's on, so that when I'm running hot air from the diesel heater, it'll circulate it through here and keep the batteries, which is under here, at a decent temperature. This is to my batteries. So I have two Group 27 batteries so far. I had a Group 31 in there before. Don't ask me why it's not in there. And then I have my Renogy solar charger, which then obviously runs from my solar panels and whatnot. I have it connected to my load, which is on my solar panel. And I had planned on cleaning all this up, and that's going to continue to be the plan until later. So yeah, I got a lot of this wired up. So for now, it's going to stay like that because I'm really good at procrastinating. And then, so then this part originally, it had just a metal bracket that went up like this and then tied it up to the roof as well. So I decided to frame it all in, get it all nice and sturdy and whatnot. So then got that on there. That way the bedroom was a little bit more separate. I have a thermostat on this wall here. So this will tell me the inside temperature. I believe this is outside. This is outside under the sink and the batteries. Something like that, I don't really remember. So that's nice that I have 4 separate ones whenever I remember what they are. It's not really, the inside's fairly accurate. The other ones, I think the batteries might be getting old. They've been in there for over a year. Because it's a little bit colder than that outside, considering it's a blizzard. This is kind of just a main junction box, I'm gonna call it. It's got a lot of just common areas for a lot of the wiring, considering I reran all the wiring through the roof, through the walls and whatnot. Got everything set on that. This originally was just a cabinet that was kind of lame. So I took this all out, reframed it in, built myself a 2-level shelf here. Eventually I will put some style of door on it. I can remove this top shelf, that way I can actually put this panel in whenever I unprocrastinate that. And same thing with the microwave. I framed this all in, tied it into the best I could and whatnot. Turns out the microwave really doesn't like where it is, so it's trying to escape. I got this, and well, it works. I made popcorn in it a couple times. Same thing with this. This was just blank space on top of the fridge, so I left a gap between the back part and the actual outside of the trailer so that the fridge can actually breathe, and with the vent up top. And I framed it in just for a little bit extra storage whenever I get around to that. Same thing, old ghetto fridge. So then for the bedroom, this was never there. I had that, I built that all up there just for clothes and stuff. I do have a TV that goes on the wall there. I got a cutout in the wall for others, to run cables and whatnot for if I want to run my gaming system or whatever, or just even just for power, just for the TV it runs in there. I have an access panel here for because these diesel heaters are apparently famous for burning out controllers. So I have that just in case that burns out. I can just put a new one in. I was hoping to fit a queen mattress, but that never really happened. I was a couple inches short. So I was able to fit a double in here, or full, I think it was called, in the box. Bought some Walmart pillows. So this is up in the bedroom. Pretty spacey. I have yet to put curtains on the front here. So L garbage bag is giving me a hand. And like I said, this is also part of the automatic wiring that I have as a side note for whenever I get bored. So I built this shelf here for mainly for clothes, just to try and keep them up here. Same thing, I'll put a door on them eventually, but I'm good at what I do, so I left them till later. So then I put a couple LEDs up here just to make it nice and bright. And then this is my security system. Ta-da. I have one. Wow, the front of my truck is really clean. That's weird. So I can see the front of my truck. I can see on the passenger side, at the back. Oh, I lied to you. At the back and on the driver's side, I do believe. So this way, I've had to use it a couple times. I can just see kind of who's walking around and whatnot. It's kind of handy. So when I had bought in this trailer, I originally had a pull behind camper. And so I had lived in that for a couple of years, just during the summertime. It was nice to be on my own for a bit. So when I was dumping that, I ran into a guy, and I mentioned that I was maybe looking into getting a truck camper because it was kind of a pain to keep going on with the pull behind. So he mentioned that he had one, so I went and I looked at it. Turns out this wasn't too bad. So I cleaned all the stuff out of it that was on the inside because it was packed right full. Got it all cleaned out. Knew it had some water damage, but it wasn't too bad. It had it mainly up by the fan on the top on that side there, which is going to be pretty simple. It wasn't too bad. And then in the bedroom on this side here at the foot there was a little compartment, and I didn't know until I got into it and got all the stuff cleaned out, and I actually got home that when I opened up the inside, ants had gotten inside and they had eaten the entire front structure of this camper. So I pulled it apart basically from this part here, which is the back corner right in front of the bathroom, all the way basically from this part forward, and then from the bathroom all the way to the front of the camper. There was nothing here except for down here. I left the 2x4s because they were still good. So I left that and tore it all down, completely got it all. I literally had the front opened up, and I reframed the entire thing. I re-insulated the entire thing, so at least I know it's nice and strong in the points where it needed to. I added metal brackets and whatnot. I've still got a few things to work out in it. It's nothing crazy right now. Google Home was working when I had it connected where I was building it, so it was actually able to control the floor lights. These lights, if you just left all the switches on, I could turn them on and off. I had it ready to be wired to do a couple other things too, but it never ended up getting that far. I don't have running water yet, so I just keep water bottles down in there for the time being. Stove does work, oven does work. I had taken it up to the mountains this year and made some bacon and eggs on it. Turned out delish. So the water pump is under the sink, and that has a broken piece on it, and I just never got around to it. So I will eventually get around to that. It's got the big water tank underneath the centerpiece there. So once I get that flushed out and see if I can get some running water in this thing. I did buy a little bit bigger sink, so I might get that installed eventually here. Other than that, the only other plans for this thing that I have are to maybe swap out the fridge for a legitimate 12 volt one, just so that way it's easier on my power. I do need at least one more battery. The biggest thing that I have planned for this is to, on the roof, I have two 100-watt solar panels. They work great in the summertime, nowhere near enough in the wintertime, and it's starting to get really bad outside, just shaking the crap out of this thing. So I want to get at least two more panels, get legitimate brand name panels, but I do want to build a roof rack, so that way in the summertime I can put my kayak on top and have a good spot to mount more panels if I do decide to get more, that instead of drilling into the roof, because I think that one part where I mounted the one panel is actually starting to leak again. So I want to take those completely off the roof, seal the roof rack really well to it, that way I don't have to worry about it anymore. And on the trailer, actually, because I forgot to take it up before I left, I bought a ladder so that I can actually get up on top. I bought a bunch of conduit to actually build a ladder, but that didn't work very well. As in, I got lazy. So I found this one for 30 bucks on Kijiji and went and bought that and procrastinated putting it on, and now we have a foot and a half of snow.